What's up guys, Ernest Langdon from Langdon Tactical, and today we're going to talk about your grip and how to maximize recoil control. All right guys, so when we start talking about grip, we need to talk about both your dominant hand and your support hand placement on the gun. I'm gonna run with this XDE, which is a relatively small gun here. And the first thing I wanna do is talk about the location of your dominant hand on the gun. The first thing is we need to talk about the placement of the dominant hand on the gun, and the grip of the gun needs to fall into the natural web of the hand. We don't want to be twisting our hand around. It needs to be in the natural V of the web of the hand. That's where the gun needs to go. The second thing we need to talk about is the location, or how high we grip the gun. Everybody knows that this is a poor grip, but there's a big difference between this and this. When I really drive that hand as high as possible up on the back strap of the gun, that's going to really help maximize the leverage and the control you have with your dominant hand. So the next thing we need to talk about is the location of our support hand on the gun. Now, one of the common things I see here is people get all wrapped up of where their thumbs are on the gun, and sometimes that leads to them reaching forward on the gun and not necessarily maximizing potential friction they can get with the grip. What we want to do is maximize surface contact area on the gun, and the biggest way to do that is to get more hand or more skin on the grip surface of the gun. So there's a couple ways to do that. One is to open up our dominant thumb and make sure that we're driving our support hand into that location to get as much skin on the gun as possible. Also, by rotating our grip a little bit, we're going to get more friction or more surface contact area, because the angle of our hand is going to match the angle of the grip. That also puts a cam on our wrist, which also maximizes our control with our support hand. So again, rotating that wrist to make sure there's not a gap on the back side here is going to maximize surface contact area. So her grip looks technically correct, thumbs forward, fingers close together, but if we rotate the gun over, we see this gap, this available surface area on the back or inside of the grip. What we want to do is slide her hand back and rotate her wrist a little bit more, and that fills up all of that gap and gives her maximum surface contact area on the gun. That's going to maximize friction and then therefore control of the gun as well. And finally, what we want to talk about is grip pressure, how hard you grip the gun. Now, as you grow and develop as a shooter, you will have more independent ability to grip the gun stronger with your dominant hand. But oftentimes, if you are a newer shooter, if you overgrip with your dominant hand, that can induce tremors as well as reduce your ability to pull the trigger quickly. So we want to grip the gun very firmly with our dominant hand, but not to the point that it induces shaking of the gun, or to the point that it inhibits our ability to pull that trigger quickly. Our support hand on the other side of that is not pulling the trigger, and so we really want to try to focus on gripping harder with that support hand. Sometimes people would put percentages on that, meaning 70% of my grip pressure or 80% of my grip pressure, various things like that, to show how hard you grip with that left hand. But considering, unless you've been injured, your support hand has less strength and less dexterity than your dominant hand, just to get the same amount of grip pressure, mentally you're going to have to tell this hand to grip harder. So make sure you're cranking down with that support hand, and that's really going to help control that gun and control the recoil of that gun, and also help minimize the effects of anticipation with the dominant hand. Guys, go out there, train hard, stay safe, and we'll see you next time.